What I'm introducing here is the result of an Icelandic LCA on overhead line and substations in the country. What we did was actually we did an LCA study on the total transmission system in Iceland, and this result is for the overhead lines and substations, and we are expecting results from underground cables also. And when we have that, we can compare environmental impact of overhead lines and underground cables, and that will be very exciting. But to tell you a little bit about the scenario here we have Iceland. It's an isolated island, and where almost 100% of the energy production is from renewables, mainly hydro and geothermal energy. We, the Icelandic TSO, operate on several voltage level, and we did the study for all of them. Our functional unit in this study was 1 kilowatt hour of transmitted energy through overhead lines. And the reason why we did that, or let's say perhaps not the reason, but we intend to use these results in several ways. Firstly, for discussion with the politicians. We have a very long line around the country, which is operating now on 132 kV. We need to replace that since it can't transmit enough around the country anymore. And many people say we don't want 220 kV towers going around the country. It must be enough for you to operate on lower voltage, which is not the case. So this study will give some information to discuss with politicians about the real environmental impacts of the two different voltage levels. That is one reason. The other reason is quite similar. When we have the result of our underground cables too, we can compare environmental impacts of overhead lines and cable to add to the discussion of cables versus overhead lines. And then thirdly, we want to use it in our own design of the system. It's vital for us to know how we can reduce our environmental impact, and the results show us that. For example, here, if we take a look at the main results, it shows us that in most instances, or for most environmental impacts, it's the infrastructure that gives the biggest outburst. So, for example, in that the conductors are very vital, so it would be vital for us, if we would like to diminish our environmental impact, to choose, for example, aluminum conductors produced in a country like Iceland, where you use mainly hydro to produce them. And then last but not least, the industry in Iceland, if they would like to make their own environmental product declaration, or which is a result of an LCA, they need reliable facts on the environmental impact of production and transmission in the country. And last but not least, we want to use these results to introduce them to all kinds of producers in the country, because if they want to make their own life cycle assessment and publish perhaps environmental product declaration, they need reliable information on the environmental impact from power production and power transmission in the country.